Welcome, sleepy soul. I'm your storyteller tonight, here to help you drift into deep, peaceful sleep. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more bedtime stories. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. And if there's a story you'd like to hear next, I'd love to know that too. I wasn't even planning to get back on dating apps. After my last situationship fizzled out in a quietly pathetic way, ghosted over a weekend, like my existence couldn't survive someone's Sunday reset, I promised myself I'd take a break. I swore off swiping, promised to focus on work, gym, friends, everything except men who communicated like they were paying per text. But breakup promises are like New Year resolutions. They sound grown up until a boring Tuesday hits. So one night, after a late shift at the clinic and far too much leftover pasta, I caved. I downloaded Hinge, mostly because everyone kept saying, it's the one where people are actually normal. Sure, whatever helps people sleep at night. I set up my profile, 3 pictures that didn't make me look like a hostage, a mediocre prompt about the best pizza in Cincinnati, and a forced smile I'd retaken at least 20 times. I tossed my phone aside, not expecting anything, but within minutes the matches started rolling in. Most were the usual: gym selfies, fish-holding dudes, guys whose opening lines were wide. But one stood out. Elior. A name I'd never heard before. Unique but not obnoxious. His profile showed him standing in front of some coffee shop in Over the Rhine, hands in pockets, slightly awkward smile, messy dark hair, thin wireframe glasses. He looked like the kind of guy who genuinely liked photography, not the kind who pretended to for dating apps. He commented on one of my prompts. "Pineapple does belong on pizza. I'll die on this hill." I replied, "Then we're starting off on the wrong foot, buddy." He wrote back, "Guess we'll have to debate it like grown adults and over pizza." I rolled my eyes but smiled. It had been a while since someone's texting felt human. We ended up talking for almost 2 hours. Life, hobbies, stupid jokes, our worst job stories. He was awkward, sure, but honest. And honestly, it felt refreshing. So when he asked if I wanted to meet at Barrel House Tap Room the following night, I said yes. I wasn't nervous, just curious, and maybe a little hopeful. I arrived 10 minutes late because Cincinnati traffic has a personal vendetta against me. When I spotted Elior waiting outside, hands shoved in his jacket pockets, rocking back on his heels, I felt a small wave of relief. He looked exactly like his pictures. "Hey," I said, waving awkwardly. He smiled, shy but warm. "Hey, Janelle, you look great." "You too," I replied, and it wasn't a lie. We grabbed a table indoors. The place smelled like toasted hops and fried pretzels, and old-school rock hummed from the speakers. It felt casual, safe. For the first 30 minutes, everything was smooth. We talked about work, my clinical assistant job, his graphic design freelancing. He wasn't loud, not overly charming, just real. A little reserved, a little awkward, but sweet. "So what made you download Hinge?" he asked. I shrugged. Boredom, curiosity, peer pressure, the usual. He laughed. "Same. My friends keep telling me I'm too picky, which is rude because I'm literally matching with you, so joke's on them." I raised an eyebrow. That was almost a compliment. "Almost?" He grinned. We talked for 2 hours. Time slipped. We said goodnight with a soft hug that lingered a second longer than expected. I went home thinking, maybe this could be something, but I should have known better. For the next few weeks, Elior would text me, sometimes, once every 2 or 3 days. Sometimes he'd disappear mid-conversation for 24 hours. Meanwhile, he'd view my Instagram stories instantly. Big ick. When we did talk, the vibe felt different. Colder. Like he was interested, but only when it was convenient. One night, my friend Lila told me, "Girl, he's giving bare minimum energy. Block and move on." And eventually, I did. Well, sorta. I stopped responding first. Then I stopped responding at all. I figured we'd slowly fade out of each other's digital lives, but life had other plans. 3 weeks later, on a boring Wednesday night, I got a Hinge notification. Elior commented on your photo. We weren't matched anymore, but he'd found my profile again and sent, "Hey, I know we haven't talked, but want to hang tonight?" I stared at my phone, confused, but also bored. And rules are weaker at 9 p.m. when you're alone, tired, and craving company. "Sure," I replied. "Pick me up?" It was stupid. I know that now. 30 minutes later, a silver Toyota Corolla rolled up to my apartment. A dent in the front fender caught my eye, like someone had sideswiped him. I climbed in. Instantly, the temperature in the car felt wrong. "Hey," I said. "Hey," he muttered. No smile, no warmth, just blank. "You okay?" I asked casually. "Yeah," he said quickly. Too quickly. "Just tired." His voice felt tight, like he was holding something in. I pulled my seatbelt across my chest and quietly texted Lila. "With Elior again, but vibe feels off." She replied immediately. "Location on. Call me if shit feels weird." I should have listened earlier. I should have said I changed my mind. But hindsight is always louder than instinct. As Elior drove, the silence grew heavy. "This is a different route," I said casually. "You sure the place isn't closed?" "No, it's open," he muttered. He didn't look at me. Not once. His hands gripped the wheel too tightly. Every red light reflected in his glasses, making his eyes look hollow. My stomach knotted. My palms dampened. I tried to lighten the mood. "So, how have you been?" No answer. He just kept driving. Finally, at a stoplight, he turned slightly toward me and whispered, "You shouldn't have ignored me." My heart clenched. "Elior, we barely knew each other." "Yeah," he said, "but I knew you." I froze. When we finally pulled into a parking lot outside a dive bar, I faked a phone call. "Hey, Mom." "What? Now?" Yeah, I'm on my way home. Okay, I'm coming." Elior stared at me, expression blank. "Really?" he asked. "Yeah. Something came up," I lied, stepping out. He didn't move, didn't question, just watched me. I got on a bus and uninstalled Hinge before it even moved. Blocked his number, blocked his Instagram, blocked everything. I felt silly but relieved. Until the sightings started. 3 days later, leaving work, I spotted a silver Corolla parked across the street. Same dent, same license plate numbers I remembered vaguely. I told myself it was coincidence. Cincinnati wasn't tiny. Corollas were everywhere. But then it appeared again. Near my apartment, near my favorite coffee shop, parked 2 spots behind me at the grocery store. Never a Elior, just the car, always the car. My chest felt tight for days. Sleep got harder. Every time I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my apartment, I startled. Lila told me, "Girl, call the police." But I didn't want to look dramatic. I didn't want to seem paranoid. I know now. The worst thing a woman can do is second-guess her fear. It was a Thursday night, nearly 11:30 p.m. I'd stayed late at the clinic and took my usual route home. Quiet residential streets where porch lights flickered and only distant highway noise hummed. My breath fogged in the cold. My keys jingled in my hand. Halfway down the block, a chill surged through me. Not weather, not imagination, but instinct. Sharp, primal. I looked across the street. There it was, Elior's car, parked under a broken street lamp, shadowed, engine off. My steps quickened. My heart hammered. I whispered, "Not tonight, please God, not tonight." Then I felt it. A hand, an arm, a breath against my ear. "Hey, Janelle." Everything inside me collapsed. "Elior, stop!" I screamed, struggling as his arm locked around my waist. "Why did you run from me?" he growled, trying to drag me backward. No, let me go." I twisted, kicked, clawed, anything to break free, but he was stronger. His grip bruised my arm instantly. I screamed again, louder, rawer. "Help! Someone help me!" My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. Porch lights flicked on. A door slammed open. 2 people stepped outside. "Hey, let her go!" someone shouted. Elior froze, his breath hitched, and then he bolted, just vanished into the night. My legs gave out and I collapsed to the sidewalk, shaking uncontrollably. A woman knelt beside me. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" I could barely whisper. "Call the police." The police arrived faster than I expected. I told them everything. The car sightings, the weird behavior, the attack. "Do you know his full name?" one officer asked. "Yes," I said. "Elior. I have his profile pictures saved." "And a license plate?" the other asked. I whispered the numbers I remembered. They confirmed the match instantly. By the next morning I had a restraining order. By the next evening he was in custody. But the fear? That part doesn't disappear overnight. For weeks I double-checked every lock. I stopped walking home alone. I installed cameras. I slept with a light on. And the guilt gnawed at me. Why didn't I listen to myself sooner? Why did I get in the car that night? Why did I ignore the red flags? Because women always try to be polite. We always think we're overreacting. And sometimes that nearly gets us killed. Months passed. Therapy helped. Friends helped. Life slowly returned to something like normal. But even today, sometimes late at night, when the street outside is dead silent and a random car slows near my building, my breath catches, because danger rarely walks in announcing itself. Sometimes it arrives with a shy smile, a soft voice, and a dating app profile that looks perfectly normal. And sometimes it drives a silver Corolla with a dent in the fender. I never imagined that loneliness could feel like a physical weight, like something sitting on your chest every morning before you even open your eyes. But that's exactly what it felt like after my divorce. I was 32, working part-time at a late-night diner in Hillsford, a small city in Washington state where the rain felt permanent and the nights were colder than I ever remembered. I used to share a townhouse with my ex-husband, Cole, comfortable, warm, ours. After the divorce, I moved into this creaky one-bedroom apartment above a thrift shop, the kind of place where the stairway lights flicker and the radiators bang in the middle of the night like someone's knocking from the inside. Money was tight, like real tight. Some shifts I'd count singles and quarters just to see if I could afford groceries. Still, the loneliness hit worse than the bills. That's why I re-downloaded Tinder. Not because I wanted love. Not because I was ready for anything serious, just conversation, connection. Someone to tell me I wasn't invisible. I remember that rainy Tuesday night so clearly. I was wearing an old sweatshirt, my hair in a messy bun, the smell of burnt coffee lingering in the apartment. The drizzle outside tapped against the window like restless fingers. I was swiping lazily, left, 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 barely reading profiles. Then he showed up. A guy named Rowan. His profile wasn't like the usual selfie in car or gym bro poses. His pictures looked expensive. High-end camera quality, sharp lighting, stylish outfits. One photo had him by a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Another showed him in Portland at some modern art gallery. One, weirdly enough, showed him stepping out of what looked like a private terminal of an airport. A part of me rolled my eyes. Another part whispered, "Well, he's different." I swiped right. Not even a minute later, "It's a match," he messaged first. "Rowan. Hey, didn't expect someone like you to swipe right on me." I frowned at my screen. Someone like me? What does that mean? Me. And what exactly am I? Rowan. Someone who looks real, not plastic, not trying too hard. Feels rare. I actually smiled, a real smile, after weeks. We talked for hours. He was charming, just the right amount of flirty, a hint mysterious and surprisingly open about things. He said he worked in luxury consignment logistics, whatever that meant. Said he traveled for work, which explained the fancy pictures. The next night, he asked me to meet up. Normally, I never say yes that fast. But something about him, maybe the loneliness in me, made me say yes. He invited me to a place called the Red Harbor, a waterfront restaurant I had only ever walked past because I knew I'd never afford it. I texted him before leaving. Me. Hey, this place looks pricey. Are you sure? Rowan. Relax, I got you. Just be there at 7. I arrived early, nervous, clutching my old jacket tighter as the wind came off the water. The restaurant glowed like something from a movie. Soft lights, jazz playing, people dressed like their bank accounts actually worked. Then he walked in. Tall, dark hair, clean beard, sharp navy coat, eyes the color of midnight glass. He looked polished, like he didn't belong anywhere near my messy life. He smiled when he saw me. Wow, he said softly. You look even better in person. No one had said something like that to me in months. We talked for 2 hours. He asked about my job, my divorce, my dreams. He listened in a way most people don't. Really listened. But there were odd things too. He avoided questions about his family. He didn't let the server take his credit card out of sight, and he kept glancing toward the windows like checking if someone was watching. When the check came, I panicked internally. He didn't even glance at the amount, just slid a black card inside and handed it back. Don't worry, he said. I invited you. My treat. After the date, he walked me to my bus stop. Let me drive you home, he offered. No, it's fine, I said quickly. He gave me a warm smile, almost too warm. Next time, he said. We met again the next weekend. This time he took me to the marina where he'd booked a private sunset cruise. I stared at the small yacht in disbelief. Rowan, this is too much. We've only gone out twice. He shrugged casually. Don't worry about the cost. The cruise was beautiful. Unreal. Like stepping out of my depressing life for a few hours. But in between the beauty, little things felt off. He asked questions that felt weird. How much do you make at the diner? Do you live alone? Are your parents nearby? Do you get a lot of packages delivered? Do you lock your windows at night? I laughed some off, but he didn't laugh with me. He waited for answers. Why does any of that matter? I finally asked. He flashed a smile. Just curious. Gotta know the girl I'm treating to sunsets. But the smile didn't reach his eyes. On our 4th date, he said, I'm planning a trip to Belize next month. Come with me. I almost choked on my drink. Rowan, we barely know each other. So, that's how you get to know someone. Come on. It'll be fun. I can't afford something like that. I'll take care of everything. Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. Let me think about it, I said. His jaw twitched. Just once. Then he smiled again. Sure. Think. 2 days later, I texted him. Me. I appreciate everything, but the trip is too much. I'm not ready for something so big. No reply. Then my phone rang. I answered. What I heard wasn't the Rowan I knew. It was an explosion of rage. You ungrateful piece of trash. The venom in his voice froze my blood. Rowan, calm down. Calm down. After everything I spent on you, after everything I invested. Listen, I didn't ask you to. He cut me off. You owe me. Do you hear me? You owe me every dollar. My chest tightened. I'm done, I'm blocking you. Try it, he snarled. Just try it and see what happens. I hung up, hands shaking. I blocked him everywhere. Or so I thought. The next morning, 27 missed calls, 54 texts. Rowan, answer the phone. Rowan, you think you can humiliate me? Rowan, you're pathetic. Rowan, pick up, now. Rowan, you think you're safe? I didn't answer. I didn't even leave my apartment. On the 3rd day, I cracked. I called him. He answered instantly like he was holding the phone. Before I could speak, he was screaming again. You need to pay me back. Every dollar. You think I'm a bank? You think I'm some sugar daddy? Pay me or you'll regret it. I don't have money, Rowan. He laughed. A cold, hollow sound. Then maybe I'll take something else. I hung up immediately. At work that night, I couldn't focus. Every time the diner door opened, my heart jumped. Was it him? Was he coming for me? My shift ended at 1 a.m. Cold wind. Quiet streets. I walked from the bus stop to my place, my keys clutched tight. As soon as I turned the corner, I froze. My apartment door was open. Just slightly. Just enough. My blood pressure dropped so fast I felt dizzy. I whispered, "No, please no." I stepped inside. The air felt wrong. Cold. Heavy. Violated. Drawers open. Closet emptied. My backpack torn open on the floor. Someone had been here. Someone had taken their time. I moved slowly to the bedroom. On the bed, a piece of paper. Sharp handwriting. "You're next." My hands went numb. A sound escaped my throat. Half sob, half panic. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my friend Lila's apartment. She opened the door and screamed when she saw my face. "What happened? Oh my God, what happened?" I couldn't breathe enough to answer. The police arrived at my apartment an hour later. They found fingerprints. They found a shoe print on my balcony. They found a small tracking tag under my kitchen table, like the kind people use on luggage. One officer asked gently, "Do you know anyone who would want to hurt you?" My voice shook. Rowan. They arrested him the next evening. When they interrogated him, everything came out. He wasn't rich. The fancy photos, borrowed places, the dinners, paid with stolen or maxed out credit cards. The yacht, rented under a fake name. He had a pattern: love bomb women, overwhelm them, then demand they pay him back. He had done this before, but with me. He escalated. He admitted he broke into my place because she needed a wake-up call. That's how he phrased it. She needed a wake-up call. For weeks, I couldn't sleep. Every knock on the door made my heart race. Every buzz of my phone made my stomach clench. I hated that he had gotten into my head. One night, while talking to Lila on her couch, I whispered, "Do you think I could have died?" She looked at me, eyes full of fear. "I think you were really close." I moved out of that apartment, got a better job, started therapy, and I stayed off dating apps for a long, long time. Sometimes I still think about how Rowan seemed so charming, so sweet, so attentive. I think about the moment I ignored my gut. My grandfather used to say something. If it feels too perfect, it's probably a setup. Back then I laughed at it. Now it feels like the truth of my life. I never planned on using dating apps past a few weeks. Honestly, I'd only downloaded them after my cousin kept nagging me. "Bro, you're 26. You gotta meet people." He'd laughed, punching my shoulder. "You can't keep hiding behind work and gym in that old-ass apartment." He wasn't wrong. My life back then was, well, routine. I woke up early, worked my shifts at a print shop in North Hills, grabbed dinner at this cheap taco place across the street, and crashed. Every day. Same old. Back to back. The kind of life where you forget days are even passing. A year before all this happened, I got out of a long relationship. It wasn't messy, just emotionally draining. She left, saying we wanted different futures. I pretended I was cool with it, but inside, it knocked something loose in me. Something quiet but sharp. So when I downloaded the dating apps, I told myself it was just for fun, just to see what was out there. But this one made me delete all of them for months. Her name wasn't Katie like the old version of the story. Her name was Lena Harrow. Her profile was simple. 3 photos, nothing too staged. One at a pumpkin patch, one at a record store, and one selfie where she looked like she'd just woken up. Messy hair and soft eyes. No filters, no weird angles. Her bio said, "Into late night walks, retro cameras, and coffee that tastes like burnt toast. If you're not a weirdo, say hi." It felt real, like someone I could actually talk to. I swiped right, not expecting anything, but then, it's a match. I remember grinning like an idiot at my phone. She messaged first. Lena. Hey Ryan, you look familiar. Do you hang around Midtown? Me. Yeah. The taco place on Maple? I basically live there. Lena. OMG, same. Their horchata tastes like heaven. We clicked instantly. Conversation flowed like we already knew each other. We talked music, dumb childhood stories, worst dates, best memories, everything. But the one thing she never did? She never gave me her number. Every time I gently hinted, she'd dodge it. Finally, I asked about it. Me. You're not into texting? Lena. Nah, just want to make sure you're legit. Some guys get weird when they get your number. You seem cool though. Fair enough. I respected it. After 4 days of non-stop messaging, I asked, Me. Want to meet? She replied almost instantly. Lena. Yeah, let's do Thursday, 8 p.m. I felt excitement, actual butterflies, something I hadn't felt in a long time. We agreed on a small place called Elliot's Tap Room, just off West Cedar Avenue, a place I'd been to before. Chill vibe, warm lighting, old school music, nothing fancy. But an hour before the date, she messaged, Lena. Hey, Elliot's is closed tonight. Something about a pipe leak. But there's a place called Drew's Social Club a few blocks over. You'll like it. I checked Google Maps. The place existed. Kind of divey, but whatever. Then she added, Lena. There's a shortcut if you're walking. Cut through Grant Park. Saves like 10 minutes. Something about that made the back of my neck tighten. Grant Park wasn't dangerous exactly, but after dark, it wasn't somewhere I'd go alone unless I had to. No lights, lots of trees, long winding path. Local folks always said, Grant Park after sunset? Nah man, that's a hard pass. But I didn't want to seem paranoid. I didn't want to ruin the vibe. So I said, Me. Cool, on my way. I left my apartment early, nervous like a high schooler going to his first date. The air was cold but crisp. Streetlights buzzed overhead, and the sidewalks glowed under their washed-out amber light. I texted her when I got close. Me. Hey, walking up Maple now. She replied, Lena. Cool, I'm already here. Hurry up, dude, it's cold, LOL. That message, something about it felt off. It didn't sound like her usual tone, but I brushed it off. Nerves make you paranoid. When I reached the park entrance, the path looked even darker than usual. The trees formed a canopy overhead, swallowing the remaining daylight. The only light was a broken lamp flickering like it was dying. My stomach twisted. I typed quickly, Me. Hey, the park looks sketchy. Might take the sidewalk around instead. But before I could hit send, a new message popped up. Lena. Don't be a baby. I'm literally waiting. Just hurry. My thumb froze. Lena never talked like that. Never rude. Never pushy. My chest tightened. For the first time I hesitated. Then she sent another message. Lena. Ryan, seriously, come through the park. This one didn't even sound human. No tone, no warmth, just flat. Like a command. I felt the air shift. The hairs on my arms rose. I stepped back from the park entrance, watching the trees sway slightly. Even though the wind was dead still, my instincts screamed no. So I took the long way, fast walking down the sidewalk instead of cutting through the darkness. While walking, I checked the app again. Blocked, unmatched, gone. My stomach dropped. My heart pounded so hard I felt sick. I typed her name into search. Nothing. It was like her profile never existed. Cold dread spread across my chest. Something was wrong. Really, really wrong. I reached Drew's Social Club, still breathing heavy. The windows were fogged, neon sign flickering red. Inside it was warm, loud, and busy. I scanned the room for anyone matching her photos. Nothing. No blonde girl with messy hair. No retro camera hanging around her neck. No soft eyes. Just strangers. Buzzed, laughing, drinking. I stood near the bar counter, confused and embarrassed. A bartender noticed me staring around. He walked up. Tall guy, thick beard, tapping a towel on the counter. "Yo, dude," he said. "You good? You look like you're about to have a stroke." I forced a breath. I'm supposed to meet someone here. A girl named Lena, blonde, tattoos." His face shifted instantly. Not confused, not blank, concerned. "Lena?" he repeated slowly. "What's her last name?" "Harrow." He closed his eyes. Deep sigh. "Man, I don't know how to tell you this." My throat tightened. "What?" He lowered his voice. "A girl named Lena Harrow used to come in here a lot, like 2 years ago." "Okay." "She died, dude." My stomach dropped. "What?" He nodded, expression heavy. "She was found near Grant Park, late at night. It was ugly, bro. Real ugly. Whole neighborhood talked about it for months." My knees softened. I must be thinking of a different person," I whispered. He shook his head. "Nah. Blonde? Tattoos on her arm? Messy hair? Soft-spoken? Same girl, man." I felt ice pour down my spine. "She used to meet guys off dating apps," he continued. "Her case never got solved." I felt faint. "And the creepiest part?" he added, leaning closer. I swallowed hard. "What?" "Dude, you're the third guy this year who came in asking for her." My heart stopped. I whispered, "What does that mean?" He didn't blink. "It means someone is using her pictures, and they're luring dudes the same way she died." My blood went cold. "And every guy who said she messaged them?" he finished. "Yeah?" I whispered. "They all mentioned the same thing, cutting through Grant Park." I stumbled backward, gripping a table to steady myself. My chest burned. My pulse thundered in my ears. Someone had wanted me in that park. They wanted me in the dark, alone, no witnesses, and when I didn't go, they blocked me, because the plan failed. I reached into my pocket and realized my hands were shaking uncontrollably. The bartender touched my shoulder gently. "You need a ride home, man? I'm serious. Don't walk alone." I nodded numbly. While he called a rideshare, I glanced at my phone. Notifications blinked. Not from Bumble, but from an unknown number. Unknown. "You should have walked through the park." Another came seconds later. Unknown. "Next time, don't ignore instructions." I felt the room spin. A final message arrived. Unknown. "You got lucky tonight, Ryan." The bartender insisted on waiting with me outside until my ride arrived. The whole time I scanned the street, every parked car, every passing silhouette. When I finally got home, I double-locked everything. Closed all curtains. But sleep? Forget it. For weeks I jumped at every sound. Every notification made my blood pressure spike. I deleted every dating app, changed my number, moved apartments 3 months later. Because the truth is, someone out there has Lena's pictures, her smile, her face, her identity, and they're using it to hunt, not rob, not prank, not embarrass, but hunt. And I came so damn close. Every now and then, late at night, when I'm walking home or getting off work, I feel it again. That cold prickle at the base of my neck, that sense of being watched, like someone's waiting for another chance, like they know I got away once, and they're patient enough to wait for a second attempt. I never thought loneliness could make me stupid, but it did. I'm 19 now, but this happened a few months after I turned 18, during that weird stretch of life where you're technically an adult but still have no clue what you're doing. I had just moved from Buffalo to Riverton Heights, a neighborhood on the quieter side of Jersey City, way closer to Manhattan than anything I'd ever known. My mom took a job at a medical billing office, and I lived with her in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. The whole building always smelled like warm detergent and cheap incense. People always assume I'm older than I am. I'm 6'4", built like a linebacker, full beard since 8th grade, yeah. I was that kid. The one people used to ask, "Bro, you're sure you're not a substitute teacher?" I didn't mind. Sometimes looking older works in your favor, especially in dating. Which brings me to the whole reason this story exists. My girlfriend, Haley, Had broken up with me 3 weeks earlier. 7 months together. She said, "I just don't think you're emotionally present enough." I mean, what does that even mean? I always answered her texts. Mostly. I was heartbroken in that quiet, embarrassing way guys don't talk about. My best friend Troy, he's 24, and works construction, kept telling me, "Dude, get back out there. You look like you're 30. Nobody's gonna question you. Download Tinder. Talk to someone cute. Stop moping." I resisted for a whole 2 days. Then I broke. I wasn't looking for love. I wanted a distraction. I set up a Tinder profile using my real photos but changed my age to 23 instead of 18. I justified it to myself by thinking, I look it, which wasn't a lie. After a few hours of mindless swiping, I matched with a girl named Lena Marwood. Her pictures were stunning, almost too stunning. Long auburn hair, nose ring, hazel eyes, a vintage grunge vibe. The kind of girl who'd listen to indie bands you pretend to know. Her profile said she was 22, lived in Bayview, and loved late-night diner runs and weird documentaries. I messaged first. Me. "Hey Lena. Didn't expect to match with someone actually attractive." Lena. "Lol, shut up. You're cute. I like guys who look like they can pick me up with one hand." I remember my heart doing that stupid teenage skip. Me. "Well, yeah, I can do that." Lena. "So come over tomorrow? My roommate's gone. I've got wine. You look like a wine guy." "What time?" I typed. 9 p.m. "I'll send my address tomorrow." There it was. An invitation. Beautiful girl. Empty apartment. The exact recipe for what my lonely brain thought I needed. But underneath that excitement was this little, annoying whisper saying, "Something feels off." I ignored it. The next day crawled by. I paced around the apartment pretending to do push-ups, pretending not to check my phone every 4 minutes. At 7 p.m., she finally sent the address. A building I'd never heard of, on a road called Crescent Line, near the industrial part of Bayview. Troy agreed to drive me. I didn't have my license yet. When he pulled up in his dusty gray pickup, he rolled the window down and said, "Yo, Romeo, you sure you want to do this? Looks kinda sketchy on maps." "I'll be fine," I told him. "She's real." "You checked her socials?" "No." "Dude." But I wasn't listening. Loneliness makes you deaf. He dropped me off in front of a brick building with flickering hallway lights visible through the windows. The whole street smelled like damp concrete and gasoline. Before I got out, Troy said, "Text me if she tries to harvest your kidneys." Shut up. No, seriously, if something's weird, call. I'm 10 minutes away. Got it. I stepped out into the cool night air and walked toward the entrance. Her apartment was 3C. As I stood outside her door, I could hear soft footsteps inside. A moment later, a light, slightly raspy voice said, "Hold on." The door swung open, and there she was. Lena. Exactly like the pictures, only shorter. Maybe 5'2", wearing an oversized flannel and black ripped jeans. She looked up at me and grinned. "Holy shit, you're tall. And you're real?" I blurted. She laughed, brushing her hair behind her ear. "You're adorable. Come in." I stepped inside. The apartment was dim, like intentionally dim. A single lamp glowing in the corner, everything else cast in shadows. She shut the door behind me. "You want something to drink?" she asked, heading toward a cluttered little kitchen. I shook my head. "Nah, I'm good." Her smile twitched just slightly. "You sure?" Her tone changed. Not annoyed, more insistent. "Wine? Beer? Water? Something?" "No, really, I'm fine," I repeated. Her face fell in a way that made my stomach tighten, like she was disappointed or irritated. A cold little warning crept through my chest. She walked back toward me, her expression soft again. Too soft. "Relax," she said. "You look nervous." "I'm not nervous." "You totally are," she teased. "You're giant, but you're like baby deer energy right now." I forced a laugh, but something felt wrong. There were no photos on the walls, no decorations, just blank spaces and scattered furniture. like someone lived here only temporarily. I tried to brush it off, but then I noticed something else. There were 2 glasses already placed on the coffee table, both filled with something dark red. She had poured before I arrived. Did you pour those earlier?" I asked. "Yeah," she said quickly. "I figured you'd want something." "Why 2 though? I mean, you didn't know for sure I'd come?" She paused. "A beat too long." "I knew you'd come," she said finally. Her tone was soft, but the words felt sharp. My heart thumped. I needed to text Troy. My gut wouldn't shut up. "Can I use your bathroom?" I asked. "Sure," she said immediately, almost too eagerly. "It's down the hall." I headed inside, locked the door, and grabbed my phone. "Me? Yo, something's off. Come back. Troy, say less. I'm on the way." I let out a shaky breath and lifted my head. That was when I saw it. Through the reflection in the bathroom mirror, a shape behind the shower curtain. Very still. Too tall to be shampoo bottles. Too wide to be anything normal. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. The curtain moved. Just the slightest shift. "Hello?" I whispered. No answer. I stepped backward. Slowly. The curtain jerked open. A man lunged out. Not massive, but compact, maybe 5'9", 170 pounds. Shaved head. Eyes wide like he'd been waiting for this moment. "What the?" I yelled as he crashed into me. We slammed into the sink. Pain shot through my shoulder. He tried to grab my wrist, maybe to restrain me. Maybe worse, but adrenaline is a hell of a drug. I shoved him backward with my forearm. He stumbled but didn't fall. Then he came at me again, faster. He swung his fist. It clipped my jaw. Shock hit me like a slap. He was strong, but I was bigger, much bigger. I tackled him. We stumbled into the shower, knocked bottles everywhere. "Stop," he shouted. "For what?" I yelled back. He tried to choke me. Big mistake. I ripped his hands away, grabbed his shirt, and threw my weight forward, slamming him into the tile. He groaned. I punched him twice hard. His grip loosened. Then I heard it. A scream from the hallway. "Lena." She burst in. "What the hell are you doing?" She shrieked. "You're hurting him. Hurting him." I spat. "He came at me." She screamed again, this high-pitched, panicked sound. I ran past her, grabbed my phone from the sink, and bolted out of the bathroom. I sprinted down the hall and yanked the front door open. As soon as I hit the parking lot, Troy's truck screeched into view. He leaned out the window, eyes wide. "Get in, get in." I dove inside. "What the hell happened?" he yelled, speeding away. "There was a guy," I panted. "In the bathroom. He attacked me. She set me up. I swear, man. I swear." My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. Troy kept glancing at me. Dude, holy shit. Are you okay?" "No," I whispered. "I really don't think I am." For the next 10 minutes, neither of us said anything. The whole world felt silent, like the part of my brain that handles fear had short-circuited. Finally, he said, "We're going to the police." I nodded, staring down at my scraped knuckles. I could have died. I really, genuinely could have died. At the station, I showed the officers everything. The texts, her profile, the address, the bruises forming on my jaw. They wrote it all down. One of the officers, a tired-looking man with a mustache that didn't match his face, said, "So let me get this straight. You go to meet a girl you've never met, in an apartment building you've never been to, and there's a man hiding in the bathroom waiting for you?" "Yes," I said. "And you're underage?" "Yes." "And you lied about being 23. "I look older," I muttered. He sighed. "Son, do you know how many cases like this go nowhere?" My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "No cameras in that hallway. No witnesses. No injuries serious enough for assault charges. And the girl can claim she had no idea the man was there. But she knew," I said. "I swear she knew." "Maybe," he said. "But it's your word against theirs." The hopelessness hit me like a punch. I did everything right. I saved every message. I defended myself. And still, nothing. The officer gave me a long look. "You're lucky you walked out of there." I knew that. I really did. For weeks after, I couldn't sleep right. Every shadow looked like someone hiding. Every knock on the door made me jump. Sometimes I'd wake up sweating, convinced someone was standing in our bathroom. I deleted Tinder. Actually, I deleted every social app I had. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't want her to worry or worse, blame herself for moving us here. Troy checked on me every day. "You good?" he'd ask. And I'd always say, "Yeah, I'm good." But I wasn't. Not really. Because the truth was simple. I wasn't supposed to get away. Not that easily. Whatever they had planned, mugging, kidnapping, drugging, God knows what, the plan was real. And I walked straight into it. All because I was lonely, and stupid, and desperate to feel wanted for one night. 2 months later, at exactly 2:14 a.m., I got a notification. A message request, from a name I didn't recognize at first. Harper Lane. New account. No profile picture. The message said, "You hit him harder than you think." My heart stopped. Another message came immediately after. "Next time, drink the wine." I blocked the account so fast I almost cracked my screen. But the words stayed burned into my mind. There was never supposed to be a next time. Not for me. Not for anyone. I tell people now. Friends, strangers, anyone who'll listen. Never meet someone for the first time in a private place. Not at night. Not alone. Not ever. Loneliness isn't worth gambling your life. I learned that the hard way. And if sharing this keeps even one person from ending up in a bathroom with a stranger lunging at them, then maybe this whole nightmare serves a purpose. I never thought downloading a dating app just for fun would drag me into one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. I was 26 back then, living alone in a small but decent apartment on Maple Row, a quiet street on the west side of Riverview City, the kind of place where neighbors wave casually but never actually know each other's names. I worked at a marketing agency downtown, the kind of job where you're constantly drained yet never fully accomplished. My routine was the same every day. Work, gym, quick dinner, Netflix, sleep, repeat. Dating hadn't been on my radar for a long time. My last relationship had ended in a messy breakup that left me allergic to anything even remotely romantic. But one evening, after a long day and 2 glasses of cheap wine, curiosity got the better of me. Everyone at work kept talking about dating apps, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, like they were supermarkets for people. I didn't want to shop. I just wanted to look. So, tipsy and bored, I downloaded Tinder. I wasn't planning to date, wasn't planning to talk, wasn't planning to swipe right on anyone. I just wanted to see what the world looked like now. Profiles blurred in front of me, shirtless guys flexing in their bathroom mirrors, guys holding fish for some reason, guys posing with cars, guys in sunglasses indoors, gym selfies, hiking selfies, selfies with dogs, selfies with babies, but not my kid, LOL. I laughed, rolled my eyes, and kept swiping left. In the middle of all that, one profile kept popping up. Same guy, same expression, every single time. His name was Reed. Clean cut, round face, maybe late 20s, slightly overweight, baseball cap in every picture, holding a cup of iced coffee in one, standing near a truck in another. His bio was just one line. Just looking for something real. Cute sentiment, but I wasn't interested. Swipe left. Next day? Read again. Swipe left. Next day? Yes. Read again. I remember saying out loud, "Dude, give it a rest." Maybe he had Tinder Gold. It didn't matter. I wasn't there to match. I closed the app. Forgot about it. Thought that was that. But life doesn't warn you before it starts falling apart. It began with something small, something ignorable. I was out walking my dog, Lulu, my tiny 5-pound Yorkie with a Napoleon complex, at Riverside Park, a place so quiet on weekdays that even the ducks moved like they were tired. Lulu sniffed every leaf like she was solving world mysteries. And then I saw him. A guy walking toward me on the gravel path. A familiar face. Couldn't place it at first. As he got closer, he nodded politely. "Evenin'," he said in a soft Midwestern drawl. I nodded back. "Hey." He passed me, took 5 steps, then 10, and then my brain fired. "That's Reed." I froze in place. "No big deal," I told myself. Riverview isn't super small, but it's not huge either. People run into strangers all the time. It doesn't mean anything. But something felt off. He wasn't dressed like a guy who came to the park to chill. Jeans, heavy jacket, boots that definitely weren't meant for walking trails. And he didn't have a dog, or earbuds, or anything. He was just walking, aimlessly, slowly, like he was waiting to run into someone. I shook it off, told myself I was being dramatic. Got home, fed Lulu, slept. A few days later, on my way out of a convenience store, guess who was at the crosswalk? Yep, Reed. He didn't see me this time, or I thought he didn't. He stood with his hands in his jacket pockets, rocking slightly on his heels, looking around like he was scanning faces. My stomach twisted. What are the odds? I pulled my hoodie up and walked in the opposite direction, pretending to answer a call. A week later, it happened again, and again, at the gas station, near my work building, outside a grocery store, always a distance away, always watching something, always alone. Now it wasn't coincidence. It was too many times. Too close. Too patterned. I stopped going out unless necessary. Started feeling watched in my own neighborhood. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the night. Everything changed. It was late, around 12:45 a.m. I was brushing my teeth, Lulu already snoring on my bed like a tiny chainsaw. I had left the curtains slightly open because I liked the streetlights peeking in. Bad decision. While rinsing my mouth, I glanced at my bedroom window. 2 eyes stared back at me. Human eyes. Wide. Unblinking. Right there. At the window. At my second-floor apartment window. For a full second, I couldn't breathe. I didn't scream. I didn't move. My brain froze. Then we made eye contact. The eyes widened almost like he didn't expect me to see him. And then instantly the face vanished, jerked out of sight like someone had yanked him backward. My heart slammed against my ribs. I ran to the window, hands shaking uncontrollably, and looked out just in time to see a man sprinting away between the hedges. The shape wasn't clear, but the gait, the build, everything pointed to one person. Reed. My voice cracked as I whispered, "Oh my God." I grabbed Lulu, my phone, my jacket, everything. My hands were trembling so violently I nearly dropped the phone twice before dialing 911. The dispatcher was calm. I was not. "Ma'am, is the person still outside?" "No, he ran. I don't know where he went. Oh God. Lock all your doors. Stay inside. Officers are on the way." When the cops arrived, I was still shaking. 2 officers, one older man named Officer Kellen, one younger woman named Officer Mira, walked me through the apartment. Mira checked the window. "Second floor," she muttered. "He either climbed the drain pipe or used the fence to pull himself up. That's effort. That's planned." Kellen asked me, "Do you know anyone who might be watching you? Ex-boyfriend? Former co-worker?" "No. No one. I'm not even dating anyone." "Have you noticed anyone following you?" I hesitated. Then everything came spilling out: the park, the crosswalk, the gas station, the grocery store. "What's his name?" Kellen asked. I don't actually know him." I swallowed hard. "He's someone from Tinder." Kellen raised a brow. "Matched?" "No, I never swiped right. I only saw his profile pop up a lot." "Do you still have the app?" I nodded. Mira said, "Open it. Show us his profile." My thumb hovered over the screen. I felt nauseous. The app opened. Swipe left. Another face. Swipe left. Another. Swipe. 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 My stomach dropped. There he was. Same cap. Same truck behind him. Same blank expression. "Reed. That's him," I whispered. Mira wrote down the name. What's his full name? Tinder doesn't show full names unless you match, Kellen muttered. Fantastic. They made me stay at a friend's place that night, my coworker Aubrey, who lived 10 minutes away. Lulu slept curled against my chest. I didn't sleep at all. Next morning, I went to Riverview PD to file a formal report. The investigator assigned to me, Detective Ronan Hale. Rugged and calm like he lived on black coffee and no sleep, listened carefully. You did the right thing calling us right away, he said. We're gonna take this seriously. He asked for every detail, every place I'd seen Reed, every time I felt watched, every twinge of instinct I had ignored. When I finished, Ronan leaned back in his chair. This isn't random. Stalkers don't escalate that fast unless they feel some sort of connection. I've never spoken to him, I insisted. Never matched, never liked a photo, nothing. Doesn't matter, he said. Some men build entire fantasies out of a single glance. Or even an imagined one. He arranged a restraining order, warned me not to walk alone, told me to change my routes, said they'd reach out to Tinder for his info. I wanted to believe it was over. But horror doesn't fade just because paperwork says it should. 2 nights later, I heard footsteps behind my apartment building. Not someone walking, someone pacing, back and forth, slow, deliberate. I froze on my couch. Lulu's ears perked. Then a low whistle drifted up from outside. A slow, taunting whistle. One long note. Pause. Another. My blood turned to ice. I dialed Ronan. He picked up instantly. Detective Hale. He's outside, I whispered. He's here. Lock your doors. Don't go near the windows. I'm sending a unit. I crouched behind my kitchen counter, clutching Lulu, trying not to cry. The whistle continued, and continued, as if he somehow knew exactly where I was hiding. Sirens finally approached. The whistle stopped. Footsteps running. When the officers checked the area, they found nothing but footprints in the mud near my window. He was there, watching, waiting. The next morning, Ronan called me to the station. They had found Reed. Real name, Reed Virgil Larson. Age, 28. No criminal record. Worked irregular jobs. Moved apartments often. Reported social isolation. And yes, he admitted to being near my building. His explanation? She kept looking at me on Tinder. I thought she wanted me to. I felt sick. I never swiped on him. Ronan nodded. We know. But in his mind, he built a story. You were the lead. And he was entitled to play along. Reed was warned. Restraining order served. Case documented. But the human mind isn't an app you can delete. Stalkers don't vanish because a judge said so. 2 weeks of quiet passed. 2 weeks of false peace. 2 weeks where I convinced myself I was safe. Then one night around 3 a.m., Lulu barked frantically. Not her playful bark, not her annoyed bark, her panic bark. I opened my eyes and heard it, the unmistakable metallic click of my back door handle turning. My body seized. Someone was trying to get in. I lunged for my phone. Another click, a nudge, a harder shove. Stop, oh God, I whispered. I dialed 911 again. The operator stayed on the line. Stay on the phone with me, ma'am. Officers are 2 minutes away. Get somewhere safe. I crawled into my bedroom closet, shutting the door silently, clutching Lulu so tight she whimpered. Then, boom, the back door slammed open. I slapped my hand over my mouth to smother a scream. Heavy boots entered the apartment. Slow steps. 1, 2, 3. Moving deeper inside. And then a voice. Low, breathy, smiling through the syllables. Danny, I know you're here. My heart nearly exploded. He knew my nickname. I never gave my nickname on Tinder. I never gave my nickname to anyone publicly. How did he know? My hands shook uncontrollably. Lulu trembled against my chest. Footsteps approached the bedroom. He jiggled the handle, chuckled softly. You always looked at me. Don't lie. Tears streamed down my face silently. He pushed the bedroom door open. My closet door was the only barrier between us. I could hear him breathing on the other side. Heavy, excited, delusional. Just as his hand touched the closet doorknob, sirens blasted outside. He bolted. Officers stormed the building. I burst out of the closet, sobbing uncontrollably as Ronan sprinted to me, grabbing my shoulders. "He's gone," Ronan said. "But we'll get him." I choked out. He knew my nickname. "How?" Ronan's jaw tightened. "He's been watching you far longer than we thought." That night changed everything. I moved out, stayed with Aubrey for a month, started therapy, quit Tinder, quit dating, quit sleeping without every light on. Reed was caught 3 weeks later trying to break into another woman's apartment across town. He's in custody now. Restraining order reinforced. Case pending. But trauma doesn't obey legal systems. Even now, a year later, I still double-check my locks 3 times. Still avoid walking alone. Still feel my heartbeat spike whenever someone looks at me too long. Dating apps? Never again. Sometimes, late at night, when the wind rattles my window, I hear that whistle again, thin, cold, stretching through the silence like a ghost of fear I can't unlearn. I tell myself I'm safe now. I tell myself it's over. I tell myself he can't hurt me anymore. But trauma has a long memory, and so do I. I never thought loneliness could make a man blind, but looking back on everything now, I see just how far I'd sunk. When I turned 30, I was living in a small, overpriced apartment in Ridgefield Heights, a quiet but run-down neighborhood on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio. I had moved there after my breakup 2 years earlier, and somewhere along the line, I convinced myself I was doing fine. But I wasn't. Not even close. I worked an IT support job at a mid-sized insurance office, the kind of job where people only remember your name when their printers stop working. I spent my days resetting passwords and pretending not to hear people whisper, "That quiet guy," when I walked past their cubicles. Outside of work, I didn't have much of a life. I wasn't outgoing. Never had been. Crowded bars, loud music, parties, those things always drained me. Even as a teenager, I was the kid who left school dances early and avoided group photos. Dating was complicated, or better yet, impossible. It wasn't that I thought I was ugly, I wasn't. I was tall, in decent shape, and people always said I had kind eyes. But when it came to speaking, or flirting, or showing interest without sounding like I was reading off a script, I failed miserably. So when an ad for Meet Real Singles Near You popped up one lonely Friday night, I gave in. I downloaded HeartSync, a lesser-known dating app my coworkers claimed wasn't as creepy as Tinder, though I wasn't convinced. Still, I made a profile. I took new photos. I filled in the prompts. I told myself I'd try. I didn't expect anything. Yet, somehow, something happened. A woman named Leora matched with me. Her profile picture looked like sunlight in human form, long, curly hair, warm smile, honey-colored eyes. The kind of woman who seemed so out of my league it felt like a scam. Her bio said she was 27, loved vintage films, worked as a freelance graphic designer, and lived just across town. I remember staring at her picture for a full minute before messaging her the dumbest, driest line ever. "Hey, nice to meet you here." I cringed, hard. But somehow, she replied, "Haha, hi. That sounded adorable." What's up? Adorable. First time any woman had ever used that word for me. We talked. Every night. For hours. And she was perfect. Funny. Sharp. Sarcastic. With this way of typing that made it feel like she was laughing between messages. When she sent voice notes, her voice was soft and warm with this tiny Midwestern lilt that immediately put me at ease. For 2 weeks, I lived for those late-night conversations. She called me Cal, even though my name is Callum, and every time she said it, something in my chest warmed. Then one night, around 11:30 p.m., she sent, "Leora, hey, wanna come by tonight? I know it's sudden, but I feel like I've known you forever, lol." My stomach dropped. Meeting in person. Finally, I typed, "Sure. Dinner somewhere?" She replied, "Actually, Do you mind just coming over? I hate restaurants. Too loud. Too many people. I'd rather just hang out here. That should have been my first red flag. A gorgeous woman inviting a guy she'd never met into her home? Late at night? No hesitation? But loneliness makes you stupid. I said yes. She sent her address, a place called Pine Hollow Drive, near a strip of old houses built before the 1970 seconds. I got there by bus around 12:10 a.m. The neighborhood was quiet in a way I didn't like. No porch lights, no street lamps working. Just these long stretches of shadow between aging houses. Leora's address led me to a small, single-story house with faded green siding and a porch light that flickered like a dying firefly. This can't be right, I muttered to myself. I texted her, "Hey, I'm here. Are you sure this is your place?" Immediately. "Yep. Garage doors open a little. Come in through there. Front lock is busted." I swallowed. Walked toward the garage. The main door was cracked open, not fully, just enough for someone to crouch under. Inside, one dim bulb flickered over a cluttered room. No car. Random storage boxes everywhere. I hesitated. "Hey, Leora?" I called out softly. No answer. I crouched, ducked under the opening, and stepped inside. My eyes adjusted. Then I froze. A man in a dark hoodie and black mask stood across the garage, holding a knife. We locked eyes. For one breath, just one, the world stopped. Then he sprinted toward me. "Hey, no, get back!" I yelled, stumbling backward. The garage door suddenly jerked and began sliding down on its own, like someone had pressed the automatic close button. I dropped to the concrete, rolled out under the door, scraping my shoulder raw, and sprang to my feet. I didn't look back. I sprinted, full-on sprinted. Down the street, across the corner, past a row of houses until I saw a 24/7 Waffle Junction glowing like salvation. The place was busy, families laughing in booths, college kids studying, the smell of syrup in the air. I burst inside, chest burning, vision blurry. I took the far corner booth, hands trembling, adrenaline flooding my veins. A waitress, maybe in her 40 with tired eyes, walked over. "You all right, hun? You look like you ran from the devil himself." I could barely breathe. "Just water, please." She nodded slowly, watching me longer than normal. When she left, I buried my face in my hands. Shame, cold and heavy, wrapped around me. I thought about calling the cops. I didn't, partly because I didn't want the police to look at my phone and see the dating app, the messages, my desperation. I imagined the detective's smirk, the whispered jokes behind my back. Guy thinks he's meeting a girl. Nearly gets jumped. Classic. And partly because I didn't want Leora's picture, the warm smile, the kind eyes, to be a lie. I didn't want to believe I was that gullible. So I deleted the app, blocked the number, swore to myself I'd forget. For months, I did. Life went back to its monotony. But then, 1 year later, I was at my parents' house for dinner, and the TV was running in the background. A news anchor spoke urgently. Police are investigating what they believe to be a targeted attack involving a dating app setup. A 9-year-old man was lured to a residence on Pine Hollow Drive, where my fork slipped out of my hand and clattered onto the plate. Pine Hollow Drive. My heart contracted painfully. The anchor continued. The victim was found in the garage. Authorities believe the individual behind the attack may have used a fake female profile to lure him. I felt sick. My mom said something, but her voice sounded underwater. The room spun. Memories hit me like punches. Her voice, her messages, that perfect smile. None of it real. I realized then, if I had gone to the police that night, if I had swallowed my pride, my fear of judgment, someone else might still be alive. For weeks, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the masked man running at me. I heard the garage door sliding down behind me. I saw the bright Waffle Junction sign. But worse, I heard the imagined voice of the man who died. A stranger. Someone who walked into the same trap I escaped from. Someone who didn't get out. And the guilt. God, the guilt crushed me. One night, unable to sleep, I drove back to Pine Hollow Drive. I parked 2 houses away from that same pathetic greenhouse. The place was boarded up now. A yellow, "No trespassing under investigation" sign hung crooked on the porch. I sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles whitened. I could have stopped this. I whispered to no one. Cars passed behind me. A dog barked somewhere down the block. But in that moment, it felt like the whole world was silent. And in that silence, I accepted something I'd been running from for a year. Loneliness didn't almost get me killed. Pride did. The fear of being judged. The fear of looking stupid. The fear of admitting that I needed help. But life doesn't give do-overs. A man died, and I'll carry that weight until the day I die. Even now, when dating apps pop up on my phone, or coworkers joke about catfishes, I feel this cold shiver glide down my spine. People think horror is about ghosts or monsters or killers lurking in shadows. They're wrong. Horror is realizing you survived something someone else didn't, and knowing you could have stopped it. Horror is the guilt that never leaves. Horror is the memory of a garage door closing behind you, and the knowledge that someone else wasn't fast enough. I never thought a simple swipe could ruin my sense of safety for years. When I look back now, I wish I could go back to that night and tell myself to just close the app, put my phone down, and go to sleep. But life doesn't work like that. You don't always see the danger walking toward you sometimes. It walks in smiling. I moved to Redmont, a mid-sized city in Washington state, about 3 years ago. I was 29, then exhausted, freshly out of a long-term relationship that ended because of my ex's affair with someone he worked with. I was heartbroken, humiliated, and honestly, lonely. I rented a small 1-bedroom apartment near Lakeside Avenue, not fancy, but safe enough and close to work. I worked as an assistant manager at a mid-range clothing store in the Redmont Square Mall. Nothing glamorous, but stable. My friends back in Oregon kept telling me, "Come on, Ray. You gotta put yourself out there again." Yeah, easy for them to say. Months passed. I adjusted to my new life. My coworkers became familiar faces, and I made a couple of decent friends, Jenna from accessories and Luis from shoes. We'd grab in and out on weekends sometimes. Nothing major, but nights were the hardest. Silence hits differently when you're alone after being with someone for 7 years. So one random Thursday night, after microwaving leftover Alfredo and binge-watching crime documentaries until my eyes burned, I finally downloaded Tinder again. I wasn't even serious about dating. I just wanted attention, validation, whatever. Swipe. Left. Swipe. Left. Super like from a guy with a fish photo. Hard pass. And then, I saw him. The match. His name was Tavian Holt. Even his name felt unique, like he belonged in a movie or a book. Not a single picture looked forced. He wasn't posing with cars or flexing. He had this calm, soft smile, a little scruff, warm brown eyes, and a bio that actually made sense. Moved here last year, graphic designer, coffee addict, looking for someone who laughs at dumb memes and likes late-night drives. Not into drama, just real connections. It felt normal, safe. I swiped right without thinking much. Then I tossed my phone aside and went to bed. The next morning at 7:12 a.m., before my alarm, my lock screen lit up. It's a match. And below that, Tavian. Didn't expect someone cute to actually match with me, lol. Good morning. I smiled like an idiot. We chatted all day. About work. About hobbies. About life. He told me he lived near Holbrook Avenue, about 15 minutes from me. He worked for a small graphic design company and mostly worked from home. He loved old movies. He said he didn't party much because crowds stressed him out. I get that, I replied. I'm not a big social person either. His response? Same. It's rare to meet someone who gets that. You feel easy to talk to. I blushed. It had been so long since someone talked to me like that. We messaged constantly for a week. Then he said, "Do you want to grab coffee this weekend? Nothing fancy, just meet. No pressure." I hesitated for a second, but only a second. I said yes. We decided on Hollow Bean Cafe downtown, popular enough to feel safe, quiet enough to talk. I got there early because anxiety always makes me early. I kept staring at the door every few seconds. And then he walked in. He was even better in person. Tall, soft voice, warm eyes, the kind of guy you'd immediately trust for no logical reason. "Ray," he said. "Yeah." I smiled. We hugged. His cologne smelled like cedar wood. The date was perfect. Unrealistically perfect. We talked for 3 hours. Real conversations. He told me about growing up in Idaho, about being raised by his older sister because their mom passed away when he was young. I told him about my messy breakup, my move, my work. He didn't judge. He listened. When we left, he smiled and said, "I want to see you again. No rush. No pressure. Just, I really like this." How could I say no? We started seeing each other twice a week, then 4 times, then almost every day. He wasn't pushy at first. If anything, he was gentle, patient. We went to parks, late-night diners, small bookstores. He'd hold my hand, kiss my forehead, make me laugh at dumb jokes. One night after we watched a movie in my apartment, he whispered, "I haven't felt this close to someone in years." I felt the same, but slowly, very slowly, things shifted. The first weird moment happened at work. Over texting. He used to text me during breaks. Normal. But then he started texting constantly. If I took longer than 15 minutes to reply, he'd send, "You okay? Everything good? Did I do something?" At first, I brushed it off. Maybe he had anxiety. Then came, "Why are you leaving me on red? You're with someone else?" I told him gently, "Hey, I'm literally at work. I can't always text." He apologized, but his tone changed. "I just worry. I don't want to lose you. You're all I've got." All he's got? After just 2 months? I ignored the discomfort. One Sunday morning, I woke up to banging on my apartment door. I checked the peephole. Tavian. I opened it. Confused. "What's going on? Are you okay?" "I just missed you," he said. "You weren't replying." I was asleep. He laughed awkwardly. "Oh, yeah. My bad. I don't like waiting." It wasn't funny to me, but I let him in. A week later, I went out for drinks with coworkers. He knew about it, but mid-evening, he texted, "Who's with you? Send me a pic." I ignored the second message. When I came home, he was waiting by my apartment door. "Tavian." "What the hell? I just wanted to make sure you were safe." It sounded caring, but his eyes weren't soft that night. They were sharp, distrusting. I decided to talk to him seriously. "Look, you're being a little intense." He stiffened. "What does that mean?" "I need space sometimes. I can't text you constantly. I can't have you showing up unannounced." His jaw tightened. "So you don't want me around? Just say it." "That's not what I'm saying." "Feels like it." "Tavian." "No, you know what? Forget it." He stormed out. I thought maybe we'd cool off. But the next day, he texted, "I'm sorry. Please don't leave me. I need you. I'll be better." I gave him another chance. I shouldn't have. Things got darker. Subtle at first, then obvious. He monitored me. He'd say creepy things like, "You were at Target earlier, right? I saw your car." I never told him I was going. He questioned everything. "Who were you talking to at work? Why didn't you answer? Why did you post that picture?" He criticized my friends. "Jenna's a bad influence. Luis looks at you weird." He made me feel guilty. "You're pulling away. You don't love me as much as I love you." It was suffocating. But leaving felt difficult because whenever I tried to create distance, he'd break down and beg. And a part of me still felt sorry for him. Until the day at my job. It was Tuesday afternoon. Busy shift. Tavian walked straight into the store. His face red, eyes wild. "Why aren't you answering me?" he demanded loudly. I froze. Customers looked over. "Stop," I whispered. "You need to leave." "No, we're talking." My manager rushed over. "Sir, you can't." "Shut up," Tavian snapped. Security escorted him out. I was shaking so badly I had to sit down. He texted endlessly afterward. "I'm sorry, baby. I lost control. Please don't break up with me." That was the day I decided I was done. But ending it wasn't simple. I called him that night. "We can't do this anymore." Silence. Then a soft, cold voice. "You're making a mistake." "No, Tavian. I can't do this. I'm tired. I'm scared." He inhaled sharply. "I won't let you go. You promised you wouldn't hurt me." "I never promised." Click. He hung up. That night he sent nearly 40 messages. Begging. Crying. Threatening. "You ruined me. You'll regret this. I know where you live. You're not safe." I blocked him. He made new numbers. Blocked again. He emailed. He messaged from fake accounts. He followed my friends. I reported him to the police. They said, "Unless he physically harms you or breaks in, we can't do much." Great. So I waited. Scared. Unable to sleep. And then came the night that still haunts me. It was around 11:30 p.m. Quiet. Windy. I was half asleep on my couch watching some dumb rerun. Suddenly, a soft scraping sound came from outside. Like footsteps on gravel. I froze. Heart pounding. I turned off the TV and walked slowly toward the window, peeking through a tiny gap in the blinds. He was standing there, in the dark, facing my building, hands in his pockets, just staring. My breath caught. I whispered to myself, "Call the police." Before I could reach my phone, he stepped closer, then closer. Then he gripped my doorknob and twisted hard. "Ray," he called softly, his voice cracking. "Open the door. Please. You don't understand. You're hurting me." He started pounding. Hard. Fierce. "Ray, open it." I panicked and backed away, fumbling for my phone. He kept pounding, shaking the entire frame. "You can't do this to me. Ray, please don't make me do something stupid." I was sobbing as I called 911. He continued hitting the door, trying to force it. He kicked it so hard once that I screamed. Then, sirens. Red and blue lights. He stopped. I saw him raise his hands as officers surrounded him. He shouted something, but I couldn't hear. My ears were ringing. He was arrested for disorderly conduct and attempted forced entry. That night, I filed for a restraining order. That was 2 years ago. The restraining order kept him away legally, at least. He moved out of Redmont eventually. Or so they told me. My life got calmer. But not normal. Because normal people don't jump at shadows. Normal people don't panic when they hear footsteps behind them. Normal people don't double-check their locks 5 times. Sometimes I still dream of that pounding on my door. Sometimes I still wake up to imagined footsteps. And even now, even after all this time, every time I walk past a crowded place and hear someone call my name, or see a man in the distance wearing a similar jacket, my stomach drops, because I know something. People like Tavian don't just disappear. They linger, in the corners of your memory, in the dark parts of your fear, in places where restraining